I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, recognition guests. Joey, Carl, Melina. I haven't heard one see I'm getting it. Joel. Okay. Joe, you have
Just here.
Carl.
I'm here for the meeting, but I got two little things. The first one is on December 19th meeting, Michael brought up that somebody in Richford was requesting a light being installed in front of their house.
Mm-hmm.
So it was discussed, then the select board left it as there was going to be, the board was going to do a drive-by to evaluate it, to assess it. Then Michael brought it up again in February, the last meeting.
Yep.
So when he brought it up, Sherry said it was voted on.
I was thinking we had already agreed to do it, but maybe we didn't vote
Well,
on it.
You said it was voted on and somebody seconded it, and nobody on the board disagreed with you. All,
Okay, so we'll do it
so there
tonight.
was no vote.
Okay,
And the minutes didn't reflect that either.
okay. So we'll vote on it tonight, we'll put it on the agenda for tonight to vote on it.
It's not a big deal.
Yeah,
but
no,
I
it's
just
just bring it to
thought
our attention because
that
that's the
process
way we do
got
it right,
skipped.
yeah.
And the second thing is, Wally, last meeting when you read the state statutes, 23 VSA section 1752, I went home and I printed off a copy of it. So are you aware that's the same thing as the Richford parking ban? This statute says that the police department of a town may cause a motor vehicle to be towed at the owner's expense. It doesn't say the select board.
When there is no, my understanding is when there's no police force.
You have a contract with the sheriff's department. It doesn't say the select board has authority anywhere, and I printed it off if you want
Yeah,
to.
that's, okay, we'll look.
So, it's not a big deal, but it's the same thing as the ordinance.
Yeah.
The select board doesn't have the authority. So, and it doesn't say anything in the state statutes about parking lots either. So,
Yeah, I agree, the parking lots are something that, again, we're gonna have to look at when we revisit this ordinance.
but I'm just trying to get at, the select board is wrong using this as a crutch, as long as using a ordinance that they don't follow.
I do, somewhere, give me a minute.
Because I remember it saying that the town foreman had it.
That's what I thought it said too.
Yeah. Yeah, it does say that somewhere in here.
Yeah.
But didn't the attorney review?
That was,
attorney review, that's what the
that's what I
attorney
was
called
reading.
out, so. And that's
So-
what we're going by, I don't
Yeah.
think the select board was using it as a crutch.
No.
So, if the town attorney give you this is the same thing the town attorney did on the two
We're
charter
referring back
meetings.
to what the attorney gave us.
The statute, right?
that's, what I read is what we were provided by council.
And it says right here, the police department of the town may cause the motor vehicle to be towed away at the expense of the owner. So once again,
I think,
I
from
think,
what I remember, it called out like 4 different, police, fire.
that's the town
Yeah.
ordinance does that.
It's not what I remember, that's why
I got it
asked.
right here if you want to read it.
I wanna see what they have, cause that's what the lawyer provided us.
let's see, I think this is a partial. You're talking strictly the towing?
I'm talking about the parked vehicle, the thing where you're,
Limited towing?
PSA
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
1752 parked vehicles.
Alright, it says here is hereby declared a public nuisance and the police commissioner, street commissioner, highway foreman, fire chief, constable, or any other law enforcement officer so authorized may remove any vehicle so parked or caused to be removed at the sole expense of the owner.
So where does all that
Yeah.
come from?
His rights.
It doesn't say
But
here.
it says.
It's in the ordinance.
But in
Okay, that's the ordinance.
our town,
Yeah.
they voted out having them
So-
able to do tickets and stuff.
Right, well, that's like we discussed the first time I came here. The board doesn't have the authority to tow, but that list of people have the authority to tow, individually cars. But you guys hired the tow company to do as they wish. So then,
Correct me if I'm wrong though, but I thought the attorney reviewed that. He said because the select board is responsible for the safety and maintenance of the roads, they had, that what we did was within the select board's authority. That's my understanding.
so where did you get that from? That's what I'm asking.
That's
And
what our,
the last
that's
time-
what our lawyer had told
That's
us.
that's what our attorney said, quoted us.
At the last meeting, you told me it was,
Yep.
23 VSA 1752.
Yep.
So that's what I looked up and that's where I come up, it says, the police department has to have a car towed.
And again, I think we have to look into that more. I don't wanna comment one way or the other. I don't know if contracting and actually having a full-time staff, a police force are two different things. So that's something I would have to follow up with.
Right, because the sheriffs are only here 40 hours a week, so that's not gonna cover every hour all night long.
According to the ordinance, who's your police commissioner?
That's what I just.
So Jeremy's a police
So-
commissioner, but town
Not
of
commissioner,
Richford.
he's your constable.
Constable, that's right. So
Usually it's a select board member, it's your police
Yeah,
commissioner.
it's all spent a select board member.
Well, I've been overseeing it, so.
And I think that would, it might be in the beginning of this.
It might be.
But anyway, Carl, we are continuing to look into it. It's a little, I was gonna bring it up. Michael and I met with Greta from Northwest Regional Planning.
Yep.
They provide assistance with writing ordinances. So we are going to revise ours. We currently have it, because these are so old, they're not in action, they're just scanned copies. So we're having it typed out so we can modify them and edit them, and I hope to at least have what my thoughts are to share with the board, and then we can discuss at a board meeting in the near future. And hopefully that'll alleviate a lot of the concerns.
And my concerns, while it's not what you're doing with the ordinance, it's how the people were treated that got towed. It wasn't proper, it wasn't correct. The select board didn't do their part. I think I know where the issue came from. Because back in 2001, 2021, when it was put into paper, it was put in for 2 consecutive weeks like it was supposed to be. But something else was put in, not the ordinance. It was so-and-so of Richford has towing, and it was done that way. So I'm thinking the 2 people that were on the board are thinking the ordinance was that way, when nobody really looked to see what the real ordinance says.
I can't say without, you may be right.
I'm just guessing.
Yeah, I don't know.
So my concern is the people that are getting towed, there was no warning in the paper like we discussed before. The board didn't do their part. So these people were told, maybe they didn't know.
But they should have known because it was flyers put on
That
their
doesn't matter,
vehicles.
Sherry. The ordinance says you need to post it, you never did.
Okay,
The
so,
one person that came to the meeting though said they were aware the parking ban was in effect.
Yeah,
The board's not even aware of the ordinance, so how can you expect the people to be if you don't put it in the paper? So I think the fault is on both the people that park and the select board for hiring somebody to come and tow it at their wish. I think these
we've been
people,
hiring people every year, it's just, this is
No,
the
you
first
haven't, Sherry.
company. We had, every year we voted on somebody to do it. Have we not?
where do you find the votes? I look for the votes, there's no votes.
One year we had Ricky Mason that would do it.
There's no votes on
One
it,
year we
Sherry. I've
had
looked all the way
TDI
through.
do it. Actually, TDI was hired 2 different years to come and do it, and they only did it twice because they got met with a gun and different things like that, so they stopped doing it in the middle of the season.
So they got hired 2 years, but only towed twice?
Yeah, that's why it never got followed through with, because people kept doing this. And it's been every year, I mean, I've been on, this is the end of my 5th year. And every year it's come to the board, every year it got posted until last year.
Show me the vote share. Tell me where I can go to
And
get
we-
the votes.
You're gonna have to research minutes, cause I
I
can
did,
tell
I
you
went
the
all the way
exact
back
month.
to 2000, to
Okay,
2021.
so this is, I think we're.
There's open
I'm not
meetings,
beating anything,
right,
Andy.
there's
I'm
open
just,
meetings, so
I'm,
it's part minutes.
I'm advocating that the people that got their cars towed should get at least half of their money back.
Right now, we're gonna go with our lawyer, that she has advised us that we're within our rights, and that's all we can do.
This
at
is what
point.
you told me your lawyer would give you, and it's not what you say.
The lawyer has given us a letter explaining everything, and she says that she.
So give me
believes-
the letter through the public information.
I don't think that's private, is it?
Was it an email?
Yeah.
Yes,
Might have been an email, Carl.
Yeah.
Give me the email.
I don't have, I think Kylie must have the email. It probably came to her. Did it come to
To
you?
come down and request
can
it
you look and see
within
if you can find the email?
time,
Send them a
yeah.
copy.
So,
Because the board doesn't agree that people should get their money back if neither party followed the rules.
I think or like Andy said, we are gonna go side with, or go with what our council has said right this time.
that's how I feel about it. Okay,
So everybody on the board sleeps good at night knowing that you didn't follow the rules that costed people money.
okay, we're gonna move on
We've
now.
only had one person complain to us.
We're gonna move on now. Going on?
Just here, but I did one real quick thing, Sherry. Just wondering with the library, I haven't had a chance to look at, did the railing get taken care of?
The railing has not gotten taken care of yet, Bobby is going to take care of it, and we are addressing the roof leak too. Which I'll talk more about at my time, but yes,
Thank you.
we're working on it.
Okay, thank you.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay, John.
Yes, I have a couple of things from the zoning. One is a request that we may need to use the attorney again. The situation is up on Corliss Road. Last year, one of the owners on property on Corliss Road asked to subdivide their property. Those lots are, most of them, in this certain case, is in Forest Conservation District, which requires 10 acres per lot. The people have 10.2 acres total, and they want to divide it.
My understanding is the state governs the subdivision on Corliss Road, right? Because it's in some state, what did you call it, state?
Conservation, maybe?
So should these people be talking to the state rather than us? Because isn't it the state that says you have to have 10 acres up there?
I don't know.
I think it's the state. And so these people may want to contact somebody at the Department of Environmental Conservation of the state. 'Cause from what I understand up there, there's something special about those lots that you have to have 10 acres. And it's the state that mandates that, not the town.
Last summer, they came before the DRB to ask to have it divided. The DRB denied them. They have appealed it to environmental court. We've had one hearing, and I represented the town on the first hearing because it's just, basic information. And the judge, at that time, they hadn't completed and given the court all the information they needed. And since then, they have hired their attorney.
I know, I looked at a lot up there a couple of years ago. I was looking to buy it. The first thing the realtor told me was that the minimum lot size up there is 10 acres.
Well, when whoever owned it,
That's determined by the state.
you know,
but I
way
was
back, when they divided it up, the owner divided it all into 10-acre lots when one person owned most all that.
But I think they did it that way because the state said you have to have 10 acres up there. It's something to do with wildlife up there.
I'll try to check into it.
And would it not be in the deeds?
It should be. I know Susan, when she was a lister, used to talk about it, that the state says you have to have 10 acres up there. And she called it something, but I can't recall what the name of the program was, but that's my understanding. That it's not a town issue, it's a state issue.
So I guess that would need to be resolved before we involve our attorney.
Yeah. I don't know who to call, John. I don't know what state department would, the listers would probably know.
Yeah,
Well, have you looked at their deed?
yeah, I have, yeah.
And it does it specify anything in there?
Well, only thing except that whoever owned the land in the beginning and these lots, he's put in the restrictions, they have to be 10 acres.
But it doesn't point to why?
No.
Okay.
I think the past zoning laws were 10 acres up there
Well, that's
for
good.
the septic system.
Yeah. Well, the district is 10 acres. That's, forest conservation is 10 acres. And that with this particular property owner, it happens that their 10 acres is actually made up of 2 separate lots. Because the original owner, when he went to subdivide, had, 9 point some acres, and then added another acreage, 1 point something
So you
acre.
can get to the 10 acre and build?
To get those 10 acres, and according to our bylaws, because that's been under a single ownership, only one structure on one of the 2 lots, the other lot has not been developed, so therefore, per our bylaws, that's now considered one lot, because they're owned by the same person and everything, and that does fit in with the forest conservation needing the 10 acres.
And where they want to divide it, they want to have one lot that's 0.9 acres with a house, and then the rest of the land is open. And they claim, because the road, they've got land on both sides of the road. Most of the lots are all on one side of the road or the other. But this lot, the house is on one, the 0.9 and the house are on one side, the rest of their acreage is across the road and goes down to the river. They're claiming that the road is a natural divider.
Might make sense.
Well, I do know the state is involved up there because of all the deer that live up there. It's considered,
It's a yard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but there's some type of habitat
Yeah.
restriction with the state of Vermont that I think governs it rather than we may have our zoning that would pertain to like somebody dividing a 20 acre lot into 2 10 acres, but I think the state's involved in restricting it somehow to just the minimum lot size of 10 acres. That's my understanding.
Well, Alan, I know the regional plan, which our town plan kind of follows, does address deer yards and such as that, that construction and stuff. If there's any deer yards or where there's migratory paths for animals and stuff that you're not supposed to be building, so that you're cutting those up and
I'm just
impacting them
thinking-
negatively.
We should check with the state before hiring our attorney because we may not have the jurisdiction over that. It may be the state.
Okay, I'll check into it.
Okay.
Okay, my second thing is, what is your town policy on the right of way? You know, like on any road in town, you have a right of way and it goes over onto somebody's property a few feet. And under the state law, the zoning doesn't have jurisdiction over that, the select board does. And if somebody has trash piled in that right away, and there's a complaint, how do you want to handle that? For example, right here on the main street, from the Catholic church down to the bridge, the main street is a 4-rod road, which is 66 feet. So if you measure the 66 feet, or a half, say from the center line to across, like where the overlook park is, your 33 feet goes over into that overlook a little bit. So when the REAC wanted to place those benches and that sign out there, you had to give them the permission. It couldn't be the zoning because it's in the town's right of way. Most everywhere, everybody can use the town right of way, and they have to realize that if you have to dig it up for some reason, you have the right to do that. But if somebody's, piled trash in the right of way, what is your policy on that?
After some research.
Yeah, I was gonna say my first thought is we need to make sure got the right statement. that we're doing the right thing. My first thought, that's my first thought. Second thought, trash shouldn't be within the town right away, but we need
No,
to.
no, definitely not. But we need to establish what,
Yeah,
we have to establish what the right of way is.
Yeah.
But even a right of way doesn't, I mean, we're not the legal owners of the land. A right of way simply means
true.
we have the right to access the property. It
Right.
doesn't say
Right, to dig
anything
up and stuff
about
like
us
that.
being responsible for maintenance of the property.
Right, that
Or,
is true. That is true. It's just like having the right of way up at my house goes right to the front of my house, and if I have a trash on my front lawn,
It's your
Yeah,
trash.
it's
your
my trash.
responsibility. Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So at what point, I guess, let me throw this out there. Having the right of way, like if we needed to get there tomorrow, the assumed, when you have right of way, it's assumed that you can access it quickly, right? And if there's stuff there that is in the way, what does that do? What are the restrictions there? Do we just throw it out of the way regardless because we need to get there? And I'm just playing devil's advocate a little bit here.
I don't know.
I guess my
assume there's
next
some
next
type of
thought, is there
notice.
any zoning laws to prevent trash from being built up on town, or not town
Well,
property?
I think, is it actual trash or just one man stuff that another views as trash?
Yes, that's
Okay,
what it is, yes.
So,
so it depends on what it is in the point of view,
Mhm.
so.
I guess we'd have to look into, is it, where would there be anything in our bylaws as to like what, that spells out our rights?
I think that would be more of a legal question, you know. Are we, number one, responsible for picking up the trash? Or if, you know, what happens if we do, you know, and somebody complains, you know, do we have the right to touch something that's legally on somebody else's land?
Their
The
property.
right of way gives us a right to travel across it,
Yeah.
not to mess around with it.
Right.
So maybe.
The right to access it in order to repair or do whatever we need to.
Yeah.
Can you look at, I mean, is this something that you wanna look into, Michael?
Sure.
I mean,
VLCT might be able to help us with that.
Yeah.
They're,
Okay, I think he's correct. It's just the bypass. We have the right to go through it or over it, but we're not allowed to disturb it.
So Michael's gonna look into that.
Yeah, I'm guessing you're right, and like I said,
It's kind of like the driveway over there. They have the right of way, but
yeah, and it's, one man's trash is another man's property.
yeah.
All right,
Okay, thank you.
okay.
And I know, I think I know who the individuals are, and there's an ongoing
Oh, yes.
feud, which I mean, I think we wanna be cautious as to entering that as well.
Okay.
Without solid grounding.
The only thing, if there's a fire hydrant or something like that,
It's on the end of the Nixon Road.
oh, okay. Yep, I know where you're talking. All right, number 4, discussion of payment for sewer line camera tests.
This a follow-up?
Yes. This is a follow-up. I think we were at Tylock last time, if I remember correctly. This is due to the house. We ended up having the tree removed. The tree was planted on town property. And what happened was some people had moved into the house shortly after they started having sewer problems. So they got hold of the town. The town said to, well, the water and sewer department, they said to have a scope test done, a camera test done. And it come to find out it was roots from the tree that we had given permission that we planted, but it was on town property. Their sewer line went right through there. So, at that point, whose responsibility is it? Most of the town, we've had other people with issues where their pipes have broken or whatever, and it's always been their responsibility to take care of it from their house to the main line, no matter where the main line lies. This here was something that it's on our property, caused damage by our tree we gave permission to plant. To me, that would be our cost. So I'd like to bring that back to a vote and have it settled this week if we could possibly do that.
I totally disagree. I think, whether it's town property or not. Other people, like you say, have
Yep.
paid, and it's not fair for us
Right,
to do something different for this individual.
right. But with those other
It's-
people, was it something we did that caused the problem? That's where I'm caught up on. If it wasn't a tree that we had given permission to plant and the town itself didn't plant it, then I'd say, well, no, it's their fault, you know what I mean? But
Wasn't this already voted once at the meeting?
we tied locked, so we tabled it and to bring it to another meeting. To see if anybody's done more research, to see if anybody's changed their mind, that type of thing, so I wanna bring it back up to try to get rid of it and.
If you're gonna
Make it
do
fun.
this for one person, then you're gonna be doing it for everybody. You
Right.
can't do it, I mean, I get the thing about the tree.
Right,
We don't, any sewer line, or any line of any kind, water or sewer, we have no control. The tree could have grown wild, for example. I mean, in this case, it didn't, but in other places it could.
right,
Other things could happen that are outside of the town's control that could affect these water and sewer lines. So I think if you're going to say
Right.
that regardless, you know, that in this case, we're gonna pay for that, then I think we're establishing a policy whereby we gotta pay for it for everybody. We can't treat
Right.
one person different. And
But
in
if
my
it-
mind, you would be, and if that's the case, that's gonna have a pretty significant impact, I think, on our water sewer rates going forward. Because we're gonna be doing it, we'd have to do it for
but
everybody.
if it's our cause that caused it,
See, I don't buy that.
that's where I'm at. If we didn't plant the tree and another tree somewhere else down the line grew into it that either they planted or was wildly always there, then that's different, but this is something we directly caused.
So what if Joe neighbor plants a tree, planted a tree 50 years ago, and it grows, the roots grow out 60 feet and goes into the town sewer line on the town property? Do we go back to the town, do we go back to the property owner that owns a tree 50 feet away and say, the roots from your tree grew into our sewer line, so we're backtracking the cost to you, even though it's 50 feet away? I think it's a slippery slope, and I think this is where Alan said our water sewer policies and ordinances needed visiting. So, and I think it's a good starting point to spell out a little clearer as to whose obligation, where the obligations fall.
When you get to the point where you're determining what the cause was of something going wrong with a sewer line, could be any one of a million things.
Right.
And we're not in the position to be able to say, with 100% certainty, oh, this caused the problem, that caused the problem. I don't see that being something we could do and do it right. I think, if it's gonna be our policy, like I say, if you're gonna do it for one person, then you're basically making it a policy that we're gonna do it for everybody. And I disagree with that. I think, we have to keep the water and sewer affordable.
Yes, we do.
And I don't agree with the town paying for that. Now, when we rewrite the policies, if we come up with something different, then, that will be the policy. But I think going forward, or at the point we're at right now, where in the past, a lot of people have paid for, and I get the whole thing with the tree and everything.
Right.
I think to be fair to everybody that's, paid to have this on their own in the past, I don't think we should make an exception for that individual.
So then the same line would work, say if we did some work on a sewer line somewhere and we broke the next line that goes to the house.
Well, if we're the cause of the problem, we're gonna know we caused it.
Right, but that's where I'm getting at, and the sewer company, the sewer and water department are the ones that suggest that was the cause, that was the tree, our tree planted on our property caused their sewer problem. That's where I'm coming from. If I if we know it's our cause because of what we did, then it should be our
But
payment.
it goes back to my suggestion. If somebody, if you planted a tree on your property and it grew into the town sewer line, does the town, are we gonna start having the town go after, you know, even though it's 50 feet away? I mean, just because we planted a tree, you know, or
Did we plant
author,
the tree, did we plant the tree over top of the power line, or over top of the
do we
sewer line?
know? I mean, is it direct or is it 20 feet away, 10 feet or the other way?
3 to
Maybe
4
that's
feet.
something- Huh?
3 to 4 feet.
3 or 4 feet, so we planted it right over top of the sewer line.
Did the town
They did.
plant a tree,
Yes,
or the beautification committee or something?
yes,
It wasn't the select board that planted it.
no, but we give them permission to put the trees in different areas and stuff. You see what I'm saying? That's where I'm stuck, because it was close to, and with like dig safe and stuff like that, you're supposed to know where all that stuff is, and you should be planting things, you see what I'm saying? That's where to me it comes back to us. That would be my only thing. I mean, if it's 50 feet away, that's different, cause roots will tend to go wherever, but
Is dig safe something you would have to do to plant a tree?
No.
you should if you're digging any holes. You ever watch your commercials?
Yep, I don't.
You ever talk to them, power lines and stuff?
I don't know. Dig safe is, I think that's if you're going a little deeper than that, isn't it?
I think so.
We need to be fair to everybody on the
Mhm.
water system. And
Is there anybody
to
else?
me, this isn't being fair to everybody that pays water and sewer in the town.
Right, but is there anybody else in town that something that we did cause the issue for them?
I'm not aware of any.
See, me neither. I haven't heard of any, and no one's come forward, and it's been on, we've talked about this several times on select board. You would thought by now somebody else would say, hey, wait, this happened to me too, or, and we haven't heard nothing. That's my only thing. That's why it's like,
I make a motion that we not, that we not cover the cost.
I second that.
okay. I make a motion to cover it.
I'm abstaining from everything, so. Alright, all those in favor of not covering the cost?
Did you have a vote? I know you just.
There's a
on here.
motion on the table.
I agree with not paying for it.
All those in favor of agreement of not paying for it, I'm abstaining.
Alright,
There's two.
I believe we should pay for it.
I do too.
So you're in deadlock again.
and so I guess that would 2 times.
I mean, what are we talking? What's the cost?
$600.
Okay, so, I mean, we planted a tree 3 feet away from a sewer line, or a
Yeah.
water line. It's not like it's thousands of dollars.
But it's gonna be down the road.
Well, it could be, but we have to do a better job too, I think, of where we say we can,
But again, we need to get a policy in place
Yeah,
for
well,
that.
I
We
agree
are
with
going
that.
to have a policy.
Yep.
So the fact that it's deadlocked twice ends this discussion.
I don't know those rules, but
To be honest, I think that is true, but
I think
we'd
so.
have to look it up, but I would say I'm thinking that's true.
So I just wanna make sure I got it right, because it was a motion to not pay for the camera
Yeah.
testing. So that means Chris and Sherry are voting no.
Yeah.
But
Right.
Wally
Right,
and
right,
Alan are
both vote
voting
yes.
yes.
okay, on to the next. Approval of 2/6/23 select board meeting minutes. Anyone have any comments, corrections?
I will defer to Carl's item about the light that was discussed and not have that added to the minutes.
Well, it's on the minutes, but there's no direct motion.
We'll
Right.
make that motion now for that.
Yeah.
So there's a motion, do I hear a second?
Second,
For the, wait, so for the minutes, or are you making a motion to do the
Well,
streetlight?
Well,
streetlights.
well, the motion will have to be added to the minutes, or, no, we'll do it this meeting.
It would be
Yes,
this
this
meeting,
meeting.
just be the motion.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
So we'll approve for the minutes first and then?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you making a motion to approve the minutes?
Yeah.
Yes, do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passed. This second motion resulting,
was to
We did the streetlight.
do the streetlight, yes.
Yes, he made a motion, I'll second it.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passed.
If I could make a comment on the streetlights, the village or town changed all the streetlights to the LEDs. The streetlight that's down in front of the sewer plant, that's still the old-fashioned one. Is that town's, or does that light belong to somebody else?
Honestly, can't answer
I
that.
don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm thinking it probably goes with the sewer building.
That one hasn't been changed, I've noticed, yeah.
I've had several people comment that the LEDs they're way brighter than the old ones, and they've made the argument that we almost could get away with less streetlights than we actually have. But I mean that's for a different discussion. I mean a different diet. But that's been an observation a couple people have made. You know.
I've heard people would like it too. So
Yeah, so I
it's-
mean, half a dozen more.
Well, I think your lights are brighter, but they shine down, they don't
Yeah.
spread out like a.
if you come in on a
So
foggy
it makes it
night,
a little
you can
bit
see
darker.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's,
Right,
so it's nice to have them closer then because they come down more like this.
it's nicer.
I can see all Main Street from my house now, all those trees fell down.
I don't see them from my house.
me neither.
Okay, update from town administrator.
Not too much. I'm still working on the list from the last meeting. The sheriff figuring that one out, and I'm working on finding out the meeting dates for the solid waste district. I have to reach out to him. I forgot his name, but wait. Oh yeah, who runs it, and I know I submitted the grant for FEMA, the assistance to firefighters. So did not get that waiver for for our contribution towards it, but I talked to Andy about it. And still, that's
I'm
right.
just gonna hold funds until
Right.
here.
Until you hear from him, then it should be fine.
Okay.
So I think our portion would be around 9,000 for it.
Nice.
We had been working with Bethany from NRPC about some highway stuff for municipal roads, general permits, and she's teaching me a little bit more about that, on how to do like the pre-assessments and kind of fill out some paperwork on that. So
Nice.
that's good. And we're still working on the rail trail extension.
The hardest part is pinning people down for meetings.
Yeah.
Just to even have conversations.
Yeah. And, that's all I have. No, not at the moment, but we still have some things that Bethany and I said we have to do to before
Okay,
that.
perfect.
Okay. Highway report.
Not much to report.
It's been mild.
Mild. We did have our insurance company come do an audit. That I don't know. Did we report on that last time?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're just doing a follow up. We're doing the stuff on the list. I think Michael's been working. I think one of the items on here was getting the MSD reports and all in a binder, and just we've ordered some of the equipment that was that was needed. They've fixed the wash station, done some other things. So we're just tackling the list that was generated. So
I go.
I think we're all pretty close to in compliance, getting most of it done.
Jason reached out to me, asked about if the fire department had some lockers that we used, and we do have some lockers. There's a couple of them with padlocks on it, but I don't know that they're actually being used, so we might have a set of lockers for them.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna check with the people that have locks on it.
Other than that, not too much to report.
Okay, buildings report, Sherry?
Not a lot to report at this time, but the post office, the Country Federal Credit Union is moving along smoothly. We have another window that needs to be replaced that we discovered that was cracked. So I had somebody order that, Bobby ordered that, who did the other one, so he knew who to get it from. Hot water tank is being replaced for the building, with a conventional hot water tank, because all it is bathrooms and a sink, so, for the whole building. That's about it down there. It's looking really nice though. They're doing a really good job bringing back, they're matching everything to the antique of the building, which is really nice. Library, roof is leaking again. Ice is built up in the valley. I had Bobby take a quick look at it. He's gonna see what he can do, but the roof is gonna have to be replaced, that whole section. We're gonna figure out how to get that in the budget this year.
That brand new standing seam?
Not this side. Where the other side comes off, the valley, they did it with shingles.
Oh.
Of the two metal roofs, but the metal roof on that side, the smaller area, never got replaced, only the big one.
Is there a temporary? You don't know if there's.
He tried to temporary fix it now twice, and it just keeps backing up into other areas and stuff. So hopefully he can do something with that. And of course, the rail's on the thing.
Does the insurance on the library cover any of that?
The insurance won't cover the roof, but it may cover the damage on the inside. They did that for the fire department too, so. Because of being either neglect, improperly installed, those type of things. And with a combination of the two materials is not correct, so.
Is it a big area?
It's right where the two valleys come in together, like the big roof comes down like this, and then there's the other roof that goes like this. There's that valley that comes in between them.
I'm just wondering if we should look at, whether this year or next year, putting steel on that so this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, getting the whole thing done right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's gonna try to fix it and stuff, and then he's gonna get a quote on replacing it. I'll have to get a couple more quotes to go with it and see if I can come up with some money for it. But, besides that, there's not a lot. I did ask, I sent a list to Wally about, different things the town guys could do when they're slow, around from painting inside buildings to, I need a big rock.
Yes.
Sooner than later, because if it snows again and they plow, they may end up hitting those.
So I'll
Yeah.
follow up with that. And then, was anything done at the fire station?
Nothing, not that I've seen. I asked for the seals, but yeah.
They were there the other day measuring up and trying to figure out what they needed because they're not the style seals they thought they were gonna need.
Okay.
They thought they were like a nail on or screw on, but ours are like a press on to like this metal cleat.
So I'll have to go over it, door.
That's what I told them because I talked to Slim and them the other day about it
Okay. So
when they were looking at it.
Okay,
Perfect.
Okay.
good. All right. Water and sewer report. There was a main to a sprinkler break up the Blue Seal, not this past week, but I think it was like Thursday before the weekend of last week. I don't remember the date. It was 8-inch main going to the sprinkler. Town boy or Simons were right there looking for a water leak. They knew that they were losing 2,700 gallons a minute. Flooded, pretty much flooded the basement and the cell shed underneath the cell shed of the mill. Got it shut down, so that was taken care of. I think we lost about 2.5 feet of water in the reservoir, which is a lot. But Jeremy stepped up production of water, so they recovered. And I know Jason helped out the mill doing some digging for them so they could get things shut down, because it did shut down the mill for a few hours with no water. The water department brought down some fittings and some pipe for the mill to fix, and Jeremy's gonna replacement cost bill the mill for that, so that can be taken care of. I know the mill's appreciative on what help they got, because we were shut down.
Jeremy would probably know this better, but isn't there some, again, I don't know this for sure, I'm just literally asking this myself. I thought there was some requirement that when the reservoir dropped a lot, 2.5 feet's quite a lot, that they were required to notify the water users in the event that it affects the.
Oh,
Maybe it didn't drop far enough, and
I don't know that, but I know that he was very close contact with the mill. So he came right down looking for it, and actually it's the same day we got delivery of the tower truck for the fire station, so I was out in the middle of the yard, and Jeremy wanted to know if the fire department using water. I said, no, we're just taking delivery of the truck. Then he drove off. I got the truck unloaded and parked it in the yard, went back in, and I got notified that we had a flood in the basement, and that's, so. And then Jeremy had been talking with Danny, the maintenance engineer, so.
I guess he must have been aware of.
Oh, it was where they were scrambling to shut it down, that's,
Yes.
yeah. So that's the main thing I had to report for water and sewer. Alan, you're still,
We're starting this week, right?
Hopefully, I want to confirm
Yep.
where we are.
And I want to try to get it done before summer
Mhm.
for the rest of the board to look at our revised, updated water and sewer rules. And then hopefully do our public meetings and maybe try to coordinate it with, with that. And it'd be nice to get it done before summer, but we still be working on it. I think the water and sewer it's an important thing, and I want to be sure we all take the time to do it as best we can. And that's all I have.
okay. Parks, playground, cemeteries report.
I don't have much. The only thing I have is that the 4th of July parade will be on that Saturday, the 1st. I met with Terry, who ran it for the last couple of years, but she was awesome and very organized, and I'll be starting a committee for anyone that wants to help and volunteer.
Last night we got called out for a fire down at Davis Park. Someone lit the plastic garbage can on fire, so you're nailed down a garbage can down there. But the fire's out and we saved the skating rink, so. Alright, so that's enough of that. Other business, anyone got anything that they wanna bring up? I have one item, so.
Is there any way we can get a couple more cameras in town? Like one for each park would be great.
I think that's a great idea, but I don't know as getting service to those cameras, what it entails, so we'd have to get someone up here that knows cameras and ask them that question.
One of the past ones, it said it was because of being able to receive it.
Yeah.
Because of where it's located.
Right.
But we got one of the tallest buildings in town, and it should be able to receive anything from anything lower than it.
But that's something that, we gotta ask the expert. So
Yeah.
my suggestion would be, Michael, if you could, I don't even know who our camera people are, but get in contact with them and just ask them to come up and,
I'm sure Kylie will know. It must be she
Yeah.
maintains the
Not your dad would know, Andy.
well, I'm sure he does, so.
To see what it'd take to at least get a couple more cameras down at the parks, down River Street towards the park, and
Well, I think
One
it'd be
over
good
there.
to have one right at the park if we could,
yeah,
both
watching
parks.
everything. It's also for children if somebody gets hurt or something like that, at the skating rink, you know.
Do you know when the park and ride, was that put into the grant application too, some cameras for that?
No, that wasn't.
And we should have one there too.
Yeah, that was not part of that. I don't think they would even cover that.
Right, but we should have a camera on the
So
park,
just
right?
something to put on the radar for when that
Yeah.
happens.
The thing I got, who's seen the sheriff in town on duty? Has anyone? 'Cause-
Saw him the other day. I thought he was gonna pull me over, but
No, I seriously have not seen a sheriff in town for a while.
Just
and that's-
Andre.
Just Andre, and
I
he's
see
with
Andre,
the
that's
school.
it, yeah.
And that's my concern right now is, are we getting what we're paying for? And which goes back to last meeting.
Mhm.
So I think we need to be right on that, because if we're paying money and not getting the
I can
service.
reach out and contact and see who's gonna be stepping up into coming here and seeing us and have a meet with us. You wanna do that again? Somebody new's taking over, so. Yeah,
I would
I
think
know.
he'd be reaching out, but, yeah, I think
get a
have
meeting with
Michael
them.
contact with him, see if you can get a schedule again.
Okay.
And
We haven't had one of those in a few months, right?
No.
No,
and maybe we need to withhold payment. That might be an option. If we're not getting what we're asking for, why should we pay for it? We're the customer. So. Okay, that's all I have on that.
At what point do we, I guess, yeah, we have to take those initial steps, but maybe we start some preliminary, reach out, like what are our other options? Orleans,
Yeah.
Chittenden County,
We got Chittenden County, we got Orleans, and we might even have the town of St. Albans. I don't know.
so I don't know if we want to,
Yeah,
start thinking about like, cause I believe our contract, like, either party can get out of it, right?
that is right.
So,
That's right.
maybe we start exploring it, if they know we're exploring, we might get better service too.
I've noticed natives are getting a little restless, and it's like there's no one around to even just the presence will calm things down. So
Well, money talks.
all right,
Okay.
that's all I have. Anyone have anything else? If not, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none.